Yo, what's good? It's your boy Royalty Trades. I've been seeing a lot of stuff. A lot of people asking what's the best way to trade, what's the best time frames to look at. The answer is all of them, pretty much. How you look at all of them. I first learned how to trade charts and trade patterns using the top-down analysis. And I didn't even know that that's what it was called. That's what clicked to me and it made sense. And I started doing it and it became um, what made most sense to me in order to be able to navigate time frames. Some people can just trade 5 minutes, some people can just trade daily. I use all of them. So what is top down analysis? Pretty much you start at bigger time frames and you're drawing your trends there and you want to work your way down to smaller frames as you find more and more details. And for me, I like to start off in the big candle range, the 6 to 3, 3 month, the weekly, and the daily. And I use the 1 to 4 hour range to plan my entries and exits. And then when it's really time to hop straight into it, I'm down to the 5 minutes. So we're gonna use Bitcoin since it's somewhat live price action, and we're going to use top-down analysis on this chart and see if it resonates with you guys. And maybe you can add this to the arsenal. So let's get into it. Right now, I'm on a 6 month chart on Bitcoin. So first thing I like to do, I like to find the bottom trend, and I like to find the resistance. If it's not really one, then sometimes I'll find the the next trend of resistance using rising channels. So straight off the top, I'm going to see this right here as a trend on the 6 month. So that's my support right here, and I try to do it as accurate as I can. Right now, we look at the closed candles. This one's still a live candle. So if I just look at the actual closed candles, I'll use a rising resistance right here, and it kind of makes a channel there. So with top down analysis, once I find the 6 months, then I'm zooming into the 3 month to see if I see a potential trend on this one. So I'm gonna look at this one, and these are closed candles, even though it briefly broke out one, but that one, and I really don't like drawing them this high, but I mean, this can be narrowing of the price action. So there. And once I find everything that I need to see on the 3 month, then I'm just watching to see how price action has been moving in there recently, and just see how the prices are starting to narrow down as it gets closer here. So now that I'm in the 3 month, I'm zooming down to the 1 month to see if I can find another pattern within the pattern. So now that we're here, after once I scale down so low, I'm not really looking for rising channels anymore. That's normally I'm only drawing these channels like this if it's just nothing else there, and that's all the candles give me. I'm always looking for narrowing price action and or breach of resistance or support down to the next level. So now that we're on the 1 month, I don't really see anything that's just calling out to me. Maybe this one. Sometimes trend lines work, sometimes they don't. But do not force them, because you force it so you can see something that you ain't really seeing. It can go very, very wrong. So do not force trend lines. If it's not there, then it's not there. But I'm gonna draw that one too, and that's just kind of a double support if it makes it this far. Once I'm done with that, we're going into the weekly and seeing what the weekly has to offer. Um, we'll take this one right here, and just in case things get tight. We'll take that. And this is the weekly. So as I'm watching this, I'm telling myself, okay, I see the price action starting to slack up because I'm starting to get little support levels like this. So I know the price is drying up. Of course, we're going into a weekend, and normally the weekend for Bitcoin is pretty consolidated. So once we get down to the daily, then I'm just seeing these are like my last few touches. So I'm only really looking for something that's solid. I'm not looking for nothing too high and too low. Like this one right here is kind of cutting it. Like that candle's not, this third candle right here is not really closed, and it's already showing that a level's been breached, which we can play it. Let's rock with it. So I got everything that I like on the daily as far as trend lines. So this is where you see the future projected target set. Up here, right there, here, here, down if the market just having to sell off for some reason. So this is how you find future price targets based off the candle structure. If we look at the daily right now, this candle's not quite closed, so it can open either way, but right now it's red. So if this was to close, well, yellow, if this was to close bearishly, then this would be a bearish engulfing candle to this prior day's candle, and I'll consider it bearish. You might see like a head or another shoulder being built here to break down to these next support levels. But that's where the hourlies come in at. So as the hourlies come, you can see how the price action really starts to play out. You get a little bit more detail. You can see where different support levels are being respected at. And this is how you start planning your moves on the hourly. So once you're at the 4 hour, you're looking at the candles. You're seeing a big yellow candle on a daily. So now you're going into the 4 hour with a bearish mindset, even though that candle's not closed yet, but we're just knowing that right now it's red or yellow, and let's go into the hourlies with a bearish mindset. So we see a brief breach of the support right here. So the first thing I'm doing is seeing where was the last level of resistance at and support at. So I see support here and I see resistance here. So I'm thinking that we probably can trade like that in that area. Now I'm actually not drawing all of this when I'm actually trading with myself. I'm just kind of visualizing it. So this is what pops up in my mind when I'm watching charts trade. So now that we're on the 4 hour, we're constantly planning our trade as we zoom in a little more. And as you can see, we're getting closer and closer to see the details inside of the trends that we've drawn on these bigger time frames. So now I'm on the 2 hour. I'm working my way down to the 1 hour. Now here's a conflicting candle. Even though we had a yellow candle here, when we get down to the 1 hour, we do see a bullish engulfing candle here. So that tells me that, all right, as long as these lows don't get taken out, we're going to see the move back up here and some consolidation there. And we'll be looking for the highs to be taken out. Once the high is taken out, then we can consider a move back up here. We could see some consolidation, but once we take out that high candle over there, boom, we'll probably see like a retest of what used to be resistance. We'll see a retest. That'll be support for the next move up. But if those lows get taken out, say we drop down, those lows get taken out, we can see a retest up here. And then this would be resistance. And you'll see a move back down. So you always got to have two agendas for the chart that you have. And I'm at the 1 hour. This is the final phase of me planning my attack. So now that I'm scrolling down to 30 minutes, now I'm just looking for the details. And I'm watching the candles play out on the chart. If you look down here, you can see the times attached to the dates. So you'll watch a sideways movement inside of this, or you'll see a breakdown here. This would be resistance, and then you'll see the further move down. So as I'm getting closer to executing and watching the patterns, I'm down to the 15 minute. When we get down to the 5 minute, this is where you see everything. You're pretty much in the trenches at 5. That 5 minute chart is going to show you all the details you want to see. It's going to show you, what's happening. It rejected up here. It's somewhat showing support here, but as it gets in here, you see the price action starting to pretty much dry up. So now you're just waiting for the big move. If you ever need to see what's going on, you can scan out like I do sometimes, and you can see the recent price action of your stock on this trend. So here we see that it sold off and it touched this trend. So we're over here. These two trends were closer together here. If we go over here, there's a big gap between this trend and that previous trend. So we see a bigger risk of more downside between the two trends that were at one point in time closer together. So even though it's a bigger drop, if you bought here an options contract, if you had the right Greeks, which means you had a very low theta and a respectable IV around 20 or 30%, say if you bought here, you held all the way through here. If you came back down to this trend line, you're not going to lose too much money. You're probably going to break even because you're probably going to be only losing maybe $5 or $6 a day. And all you're doing is retesting a previous level of support. The drop from up here was just bigger if you play this support zone. So good Greeks matter because if you just happen to make this move down and you're still holding, you're not losing too much money and you're waiting to move back up. Makes sense. 5 minutes gives you details. Daily shows you what to look at. Well, daily, weekly, monthly is going to show you what to look at. And your hourlies are going to help you plan your attack. Once you go through these hourlies and you plan your attack, now it's time for execution. You're coming in on the 5 minutes and you're just looking at historical data on the 5 minutes and you're watching to see, if this breaks out, if it's going to come down, if it's going to come back up. You're pretty much ready to execute on the 5 minute chart. Now, at some point, it gets different for everybody. That's just up to you. You can learn it the way that I do it, and then you can put your own spin on it. Sometimes you can add your indicators on there, and you can play it like that. Like right now, this is the Bollinger Band. So everything's pointing down right now. We're seeing price action pretty much see what it's going to do. It's rejecting counter right here because the price action is drying up. Bollinger Band's coming down. Eventually, they're going to curl to the sideways, squeeze up in here, and then you'll see a release and the price action will go whichever way the bands choose to release. This is another lesson in its own too. It looks like it still needs to come back up because the bands just released here. And when they spread out, then you'll see the price action riding until it decides to narrow up and we see the next the next narrow of the Bollinger Bands. But we'll talk about that another day. Right now, we're just using top-down analysis, and it's possible that you can add your indicators to it in order to play in Confluence 2, MACD, RSI, all those good things. So hopefully you guys will have a good watch on this tomorrow. You can add this to your arsenal of trading tactics, apply next week, and hopefully it'll make you some money. Feel free to tap in with your boy. Please like the video if this helped you out. If you're new, come on to the family, subscribe. I appreciate everybody giving me some time to be able to talk about the top-down analysis with you guys. I appreciate it a lot. So stay tapped in with your boy, and I'll see y'all on Monday. I'm out.